Hey guys, I'm gonna make this try to make it quick. I had to come in and fill in for my mom to help her out. She had to go take someone to a doctor's appointment that can't drive. It was kind of last minute. It was and wasn't. So I know it's been a while since I've done a Bible study thing. Got more sheets right here. I want to try to do a video later. The lady we're sitting for, she did lay down a few minutes ago, and I think she was trying to get back up. She's been up and down. One thing I want to point out, I want to do one about fasting, like a full on video. I'm just gonna do a little tidbit thing. I'm sorry, y'all probably gonna hear her, the lady over the little baby monitor. Anytime she gets up and down, you hear, "Oh my God!" Yeah. I know she's probably in a lot of physical pain because of her what do you call it? Arthritis. Hold on, let me go check on her. See if she's okay. Oh, okay, guys, I'm back. I had to take the sheets off the bed. She wanted to lay in the bed. She was laying on top of the sheets. She didn't want to be. And then she peed on them. So yeah, if you're looking at caregiving stuff, if you can't handle the pee and all that stuff and what older people do that have dementia, that's not the job for y'all. So now I'm looking for more sheets. Gotta start that in a second. Just want to go ahead and put those out there. Gotta change her. Hold on. Gotta look for some sheets. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I think she might go lay back down. So as what I was going to talk about is fasting. Real quick, I want to talk about some other stuff too. If you're going to fast, usually, even the Bible talks about it. I'm trying to remember which scripture it came out of. I know it's between Matthew and Luke, New Testament. And even Jesus talked about how don't be like the Pharisees, the religious people, and basically don't publicize that you are fasting or about to fast. It's okay to ask questions. If you got something out of that fast you want to share with somebody that would be helpful spiritually, I don't see a problem about it. The Bible doesn't talk about that part, but it's saying just don't publicly announce that, hey, I'm fasting, whether it's from Facebook, other social medias, without food or sweets or something like that. I know not everybody can do a full-on fast. When I say that, it's no food, period. So, hold on. I'm getting a call. It's important. Okay. So, I had to answer that. It was my mom. She had to be at the house. We had to go get a new, had to get a new fridge. Ours completely went out Sunday. It started acting funny and making questionable sounds a few days before. I'm like, something's not right. I just didn't really get a chance to really say anything to anybody in the house because it's just doing so much. Just been busy the last 2 weeks. Just coming and going, doing returns, and I was trying to get together some family members who were doing DNA kits because they had questions about the biological father, which is a whole other story in itself. I don't want to have to share that. The plot thickens on that one, I guess, with some people, but it's an interesting story. And I'm sure there's a story in that's not in everybody's family, as in a good bit. I'm sure there's secrets in every family that you don't know. So anyways, like I was saying, I was talking about fasting. So what got me thinking about this and wanted to say, do a short video about it, or as short as I can be, was somebody that I know that there was a lot of issues there. I'm not going to explain the whole story. That'd be for another video when it's getting ready to be talked about. This person I kind of had a relationship with, and he did some things that wasn't right. And I just kind of, this last couple months, felt like I was being dealt with to try to let him back in my life and just be friends with him for my mom's sake, because they're on good terms. And, me and him wasn't. And it's kind of hard because he's, now married, and it's kind of hard to see both of them. And it's like, oh, but it's like, gonna be nice, be nice. So, I've seen them here and there, and I try to be cordial and nice and to say, hey, how are you doing? And just move on. And, so anyways, make a longer story shorter, try to be short. We became Facebook friends last month. So he posted on his thing, he's doing a Facebook fast, and I was like, I don't know, like my gut instincts with him on everything is just like, oh, something don't settle well with this. And I don't know if it's just because of things that happened, but even before bad things happened that were bad, but I've had, I don't know if it's just a connection with certain people, like you can almost read them, not in the psychic kind of way, because that's not of God either. But I know God's put, I don't want to say intuition, but thing in you, like, okay, someone's off about this, or that, or be careful of that, or that little gut instinct about it. But someone just didn't settle with me, and it's like him of all people know what the Bible talks about and what it says. I'm like, don't announce it. And it just, I'm not saying people can't make mistakes, and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it again, But I'm just saying that I want to point something out for people who doesn't really think about that, has been a Christian for a while, and for those who are thinking about being a Christian, who are even early Christians, newly saved. That's one of the things that Jesus talks about, is like, don't go around like, oh, I'm fasting, or act like you are fasting, make it, I'm trying to think of the right words. My mind is drawing blank. I'm kind of like, oh, had a long week and a bad Tuesday night, things, there's just a lot I'm having to deal with my brother and my mom, and, we had a little argument, things happen, and I had to go back and apologize because how I reacted, and it's just, I was having already a bad day. So even, say for 15 years, or it'll be 16 years, May 16th of this year. I make mistakes too. I'm not perfect. There's always room for improvement. I'm just gonna put that out there because I want to tell my own self. It's just like some things, just like, if you're frustrated, and how some people have to deal with people that are just mentally not all there. And I'm not saying they're mentally challenged or not what people used to call say retarded, but it's just they're really off the rocker in some instances. Not trying to down anybody in my family. It's a lot to go through and have to deal with, especially when they're going 90 miles an hour and just nitpicking at everything and just complaining and then yelling and screaming. It makes it really, and you have to deal with that all the time. Mentally, it's just, you have a hard time handling it, So anyways, moving on. That's like I said, different story, different video. So I think we got stuff worked out on that. I had to go 10 o'clock at night, went out and went walking around my block. Not the safest thing, but that's one way I can just cool down. And just like, if I can just get that little time to myself, I can calm down, reevaluate how I acted, and take time to pray about stuff. I can better, like, deal with that situation and go back, okay, and just admit I'm wrong, or hey, that shouldn't have happened. I don't know why you were doing that, but it was not helping me. This is what I was going through. It was interesting. But anyways, back to what I was saying, because this is going to be 10 minutes long, maybe more now. So, yeah, just, like I said, fasting is about you drawing closer to God and going without something that takes most of your attention. I'm not saying don't go into work, or you don't do stuff around the house. You still got to do your daily stuff. And just have to keep in mind, is like, I want to take time to pray for certain things, draw closer to God, get something out of it. And that's something that you should announce that you're doing. I think there's only certain instances, as like it's like when you go without food, people like to bring food to share with everybody. And it's okay to say, no, thank you, not today, or save me a plate, I can eat it tomorrow. Or I can eat it later tonight if it's just, you're doing it from sun up to sundown or something like that. Or you did it like from 8 o'clock, let's say 8 o'clock the night before, and you're going to do it 8 o'clock the next day. The whole 24 hours. So, yeah, they keep asking, oh, why you ain't doing this? Why you did it? They keep bugging you. I might be okay to say, hey, look, I just don't want to eat right now. Or if worst comes to worst, just, hey, bring them aside and say, and just say, hey, I'm trying to fast, I can eat that food later or the next day. I mean, a lot of times you don't have to say something, but there's times I've had to say something to one or two people, because they wouldn't stop. And I'm like, I'm like, I can't, I'm not saying I can't do nothing. I'm refusing to do that so I can do this, because it's not all about us, for sure. I know we can get selfish and it's all about me at times, especially when it shouldn't be. I've been guilty of that too, I've gone through rough periods where things happen, and it's so easy to take my mind off of God and doing other stuff. And there's times God had to do certain things, and just kind of remind me, like, okay, I definitely need to get my eyes off of me and onto God. So, and this was basically about the summary of the shorts, but like, even, it's not a day to sit there and nap all day because you're trying to avoid food or other stuff. And the packet I have, I want to go through it and read it, and I might insert my own little things that things that help me, that kind of help everybody else. Even things that you probably wouldn't even think about. I know my church does once in a blue moon a sermon about fasting, just kind of help reminding people of that have been there for quite some time, and to help newer people. We call them newer converts, people that have recently gotten saved, give their life over to God, or those that are visiting. They might be curious and just, trying to see if that's where they want to go, or want to go somewhere else, or if they really want to give their lives to God and serve God. It makes a big difference when somebody sits down and explains it to you. And like, as much as I get annoyed at some people, and I'm like, God's kind of having me like, Karen, just pray for them, love them, try to be nice, or be nice. Sometimes I don't feel like being it, but I'm like, I'm just going to do it anyways. And if I keep doing that, it really helps, because there's some people that they're hard to get along with. I know I'm hard to get along with at times. I've come a long ways, but there's still a lot of stuff I have to work through. You're constantly having to work through stuff. You're not going to be completely perfect, but we have to try to keep, doing what God wants us to do until we're no longer on earth, and leave our physical bodies. But that reminder helps. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to add on to it. Like, we just did a fast, like, this past Sunday. It was just, like, Sunday morning until after that service. So I was so glad to be able to eat, because, like, I've already been doing the Daniel plan. I had to cut it a day short because of our fridge, and we were having to go out, and how some people, one of the things you couldn't have was dairy, and butter is dairy, and most of the restaurants cook with butter. So I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to eat the best that I can. I can redo the 10-day detox thing. It was because you go without the dairy, the wheat, anything that has wheat in it, like pastas, the bread, and I'm definitely got a sensitivity to gluten. Figured that one out, because once I allowed myself to eat a piece of bread, my stomach was so good it hurt. I just didn't feel good all day yesterday. So we finally getting it delivered today, and someone's already taken off getting the old one, and they're going to repair it and resell it. And I was like, fine, whatever, just do what you gotta do. I just want it off the carport, and gone. I went back to sell it like it is, unless somebody wanted to buy it real cheap and fix it up and resell it. And so we're going to do, I don't know how we're going to do grocery shopping. My mom's going to do some of it, because hers, and I'm going to do some of mine. And she's doing my brother's shopping too. Since right now we're all staying together, it's just, we like, I know there's certain things he only eats that none of us really eat. There's certain things she eats that I don't, and vice versa. There's a lot of stuff that I would eat that they won't. So, and now that I'm trying to eat healthier and do better, it's like I'm having to buy more healthier stuff. And by the way, nobody told me how good apples and peanut butter tasted together. So that's definitely my new go-to snack. And just having that, it's satisfied my sugar craving for some chocolate. I did allow myself to have some chocolate. I wasn't supposed to have anything sweet until Sunday, but it's all about adding stuff in every 3 days. But I was wanting to do like a week, because usually with allergies and stuff like that, it takes up to about a week. Most things, to see if there's, well, not so much like allergy, but sensitivity. And I remember when I took my allergy test, they did the prick thing on my arms first, and then I came back and did the back, and it was they did wheat and eggs, and that was slightly red. That was not as red and wilted as other stuff, but it was almost there. So I'm like, I must have like a sensitivity to it. I still like eggs and bread, but I feel more affected by bread. So I'm doing that, and I want to do the Daniel fast sometime this year. I'll probably wait till after my birthday. And it's in May. It's like the first week. And we're really super busy. We've got a revival that week, too, and right on my birthday. So I'm really having to learn to look at the labels more, and I didn't realize how much wheat was in different things I wouldn't even think about it. Even a chili packet, the chili seasoning packet, it's so weird. I was sitting there like, well, can I have this, that, and you go, what can I have? Which I wish I'd done more of my research with that kind of stuff beforehand. I just didn't really think about it. I mean, I knew most things that I couldn't have. Oh, and I couldn't have processed foods. That was another thing. Processed foods. That was something else. Oh, sugar. Added sugar. Like added sugar stuff. Not stuff with natural sugars in it. That I could have. But not the added stuff. Like candy. Or chocolate. My weenies. Cookies. I love cookies. So after research, I don't want to do keto for sure because my cholesterol, and I need to talk to my doctor. So I don't care what anybody says, I'm not doing it. If you want to do it, go right on ahead. I'm not stopping you. I'm not gonna hate you for it. I just personally would not do it myself. For me, I'm doing what's best for me and my health. And everybody's different. Everybody's body is different and can handle different things. And I want to do something that is safe for me. I ain't trying to come out here, get sick, die. I'm trying to avoid that with trying to be healthier. So, yeah, because I had somebody in the church who's a pastor's wife try to argue with me about that. I'm like, okay, whatever. I looked into it, although I already looked into it and talked to my doctor. You know, I really feel like my doctor has my best interest in mind. And she's been upfront, honest with me about things, and, you know, and it's correlate with a lot of other doctors I've talked to, and what I've seen online by dietitians. And I have a friend that went to school to be a dietitian, so I got a lot of my information from her. That's what she wanted to do, that and sports medicine. So, yeah, that, I looked into Whole30. There's no way I can do that. Especially because I used to have, I still have an eating disorder. As I went from one extreme to another. I used to not eat, or just binge eat and just work it off and not eat for weeks. And I just feel like if I had one piece of a cake or a couple bites out of it, I feel like I was going to get fat and just not eat the rest of it, spit food out, work out the whole time, and not eat for days, even a week or two, or you know, whatever. That's not normal. And I was like, because you get in the mental frame of mind that if I eat that, I'm gonna get it fat. And I got down to 117. Well, one scale said 117, the other one said 110. So I don't know which one was right, but I was under 120. I was telling, I had left church for a little bit because of a guy, and there's a lot of stuff that was going on. And I came back 2 years later and I had put on some weight because I got starting to put into hospital if I didn't eat. And I was talking to someone about it, and they're like, "Oh, that's so normal." I'm like, "No, it's not. Fasting is normal, and it's not something you do for weeks on end, but not go eating and feeling like if you eat one piece of candy or something like that, or a sandwich, you're going to blow up to be 200 pounds because you ate that one sandwich. That is not normal." And it's just, I didn't really want to be friends with this person, but I think after some things had happened to her, she's completely different, and she's more normal. And I don't want to say she wasn't normal, but it was just like, she had to stop and sit down and think about certain things that she did in the past, and it was like, maybe I shouldn't have done that or said that, or that wasn't right. I'm like, you got it. But I was like, God had to deal with me about that because it's between her and her sister, and it was just like, I spent so much time around them, and it just, some things they were saying and doing weren't right. And I'm like, oh, I'm leaving. I'm going to another church. I know I need to be in church. I know I need to be serving God. And I was sitting there right up in the church, and God just told me, "You're going to leave church just because of them two." I'm like, oh, dang. So I can kind of joke and laugh about it now, but it was how they were, and just how I see where they're at now, and how where I'm at now. I was like, oh, dang. I was like, I guess this is where God wants me to be at, and I need to serve Him where He wants me to be at. If He wants me to go somewhere else, I want Him to tell me. I want to hear it from God, and I want Him to deal with me. I'm not going to jump ship because somebody else doesn't like the church or doesn't want to be there and all that. I'm like, you know what? You can go ahead and leave. Go somewhere else. You're free to do that. You know, nobody's stopping you. But if it hadn't been for God talking to me about that, I was okay. And I felt like he dealt with me about praying for them. And if I hadn't done all that, there's no telling where I'll be or where they would be. And especially that one particular person. And I've been to the other extreme. Like, I would eat and eat every time I get angry or upset or just, and it's just like, I'll put on, let's see, my lowest weight, like I said, was between 110 and 117. And I started eating regularly, and I started eating too much. My biggest weight, my heaviest weight is 253. That's where I was at. I'm down over 14 pounds, not quite 15. I'm like 14.1, I think, or 7, if I can remember right. But I know it was like 14 pounds. And I was like, I guess I was an emotional eater too. And it just, I don't know how I let my mind get to. I'm really having to be careful to not get back to where if something's going on, I get mad or upset that I want to start gorging myself on food, or like get to the point where like, oh, I don't need that. If I eat in just a little bit of anything all day, I'm just going to get fat again, and that doesn't help. I don't know why I'm talking about that, but if it helps anybody, you know, I hope so. But somebody needed to hear that, and apparently I needed to get it off my chest. So I did that both ways, and I'm trying to get to where I'm at a healthier weight. I want to get to 140 at least. I know one doctor wanted me to be at 130. I'm like, that is too small for me. I like 140 is good. I've been at 140. I know how I look. I'm looking good. I have curves, meat on my bones, and I want chunky. I mean, I had a little bit of hanging skin, but that was it. That could be eventually removed. You know, I don't know how I would afford it. I can pray about it. I mean, it's not a necessity, but I would feel better about me if that was off. And I guess that was part of the reason why I still felt fat, even at my lowest. It was because of the skin. From like 5-ish, 6, I started putting on weight, and I've been weight my whole life. I'm be 39 in 5 months, or 4-ish now. So, and this was back when I was between 20, 21, when I started lose that weight and get mentally off with my health and just how I perceive myself. I always looked fat to me, and when I actually put on 11 pounds, I had a boyfriend at the time that told me I was fat. I wasn't even 130 pounds, wasn't even, and he was calling me fat. And when anytime I was around him, he wouldn't let me eat. If he did, it had to be a salad, maybe a piece of fish. That was it. I got to the point where I was so hungry, I was getting sick and shaky, and that's not okay. So if you're struggling through all that stuff, please go get help. Go talk to a counselor, somebody, HR, at your job. See if there's somebody, they have an on-staff counselor or counselor through your job you can use. I don't know if it's the whole insurance thing. Go get a trusted friend or something like that. Go to a church, talk to a pastor or somebody. Go get help somehow, some way, and get through that stuff. And I wished I had that. I only think even my mom was seeing some differences in me, and she's wanted like, no, if you don't start eating, I want to put you in a hospital, like in one of the mental hospital type things, because I wouldn't eat. Which, I mean, probably wasn't the best way to go about it, but for me, but I'm like, I know she was trying to help, But it's just like some things, it was a trigger for me. And that was one of them. But I had to decide at the time, like, is my health really worth it? I was, thank God for things like, I wasn't even a Christian at the time. I mean, I believed it was God. I believed in God. But I wasn't really living it. I wasn't living a Christian life. Wasn't, saved at the time. When I was 13, I prayed a prayer. I think it was 13 or 15. And, that was it. And I had nobody to really guide me and help me. So I should call backslid. So I wasn't doing, any of that stuff. But, God really had to help me with that stuff and put things, different shows and segments for me to see, to get like, oh, that's what's going on with me. Okay, this is how that person did it. Maybe I can do that, different things that help them get away from that kind of lifestyle. So it really, really helped. So, and there's guys out there that likes curves anyway, so hopefully, I've had several of them, different, doesn't matter race or anything like that, but there's one and all, several and all of them that they like a thick girl. So I don't care. Either way, I want to get me a man as long as he's in church and he's godly. And I prefer him to be in my church or the fellowship church. One of them. That's my requirement. So, anyways, this is going to be over 30 minutes. So, and so that's what's going on. I'm trying to be healthier this year and make it a lifestyle. I looked at the Whole30. Didn't really want to be there, do it. Just mentally, I can't, no. That's going to be a no for me. I wouldn't be able to handle it. Just, especially with the prior stuff, it's like, I've come a long ways in that area, but not fully where I would be like, okay, I can do this and not be affected mentally by it. So that's where I'm at right now. And I want to try to look up, see if I still have a packet on that. I know I gave some to a coworker at the school I was working at. Until, I want to say last year. Now I keep saying that last year before. Which I want to do a series about the whole lunch lady diaries and why I left. Now if it school board decides to take back over, or not Charles, don't ever work for them, or Compass Group, please. If you want your sanity, please. I would go back under one or two of conditions. Either the school board takes back over the schools, as far as that part goes, the cafeteria part, because we used to be the same thing with the teachers under the same Duval County. They only do the audits, and that's about it. Has to be either they take back over or Airmark does. I refuse to go back under Chartwell's. Refuse. And they have to clean house and get rid of people that should not be in higher positions, that has no way of knowing how to handle people below them. Some people let things get up, things load up in their heads, and like, oh, I'm over you now, that you have to listen to me, getting attitudes and treating people like trash. And it's not just the supervisors or the supervisor over the supervisors. It's like, it goes way beyond that. It's like the company, like Compass Group, goes all the way back to them. So that's a whole nother story. I want to write down some stuff and points, especially points, so I can talk about it. I mean, I love the people I was working with. I love the school I was at. I worked at the high school down the street from where I live. Even some of the teachers, I went to the school I worked at when I was a teen, so there was still a teacher there that I knew, and me and her passed each other, like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, whatever. And we'll sit there, talk for a minute or two, or however long we had. I'm a slow person, so I'm like, I try to keep it short. So when I'd rather talk to them when I know I have really time to talk and catch up. Because it's not all the time I got to see them, but I got to see them enough throughout the year that I could at least say, hey, how are you doing? What's up, And one of the teacher's assistants in the, we call it Mod 5 because they have modules. It's kind of how the school was done at first. It's outside of the building. And it's for the special kids, the special ed. But this lady was so nice. And she's one of the ones I miss the most because you can tell she loves the kids, she loves people, and she's a good, godly Christian. You can tell that she has a good spirit about her. And so Miss Floyd, love you, miss you. Tell the school board they need to take back over everything, even the janitorial, but they get treated better than we do with their job. It's all contracted out. So, but people like that make it worth staying for a while. I was trying to hang in there as much as I could, but physically I just could not do it, and mentally I was just like, no, y'all need to do something with yourselves. It was good because I was able to hand out flyers for that Lifeline for the teens on Friday night. So I hand out flyers for them to come, and they were getting a lot of kids coming out for that. I have a heart for like the teens, and for the college age kids. Like they're the next generation. God can use them a lot longer than he can someone that's older. Not saying he can't use anybody, but those are future pastors' wives, leaders in the church. They might be the financial pillar a church needs. They could be that next nursery worker, whoever's over the nursery, that leader over Sunday schools, drama, making a difference for God, or whatever. They could have a different ministry that they feel in their hearts that they really need, to reach people. So it's important to reach them and not, them. I feel like that's what God wants me to do, is like to reach the younger people, especially in their teens and their, I say college age, more like 20s, up to 25, it is important, and I like to, being around older people too, like old people. They always have the stories and, some wisdom apart, and it's just like, I can have a conversation with them. Not saying I can't get along with anybody my own age, because I do, and I have friends my own age, but most people I like to spend around most of the time are people who are like double and triple my age. And most of my friends are a lot older than me. And I was even able to go to, we had this group at church. And I'll be real quick, and I'll be done. Because I don't want to stay out here too long. I know the lady I'm watching, I'm trying to be careful not to say her name on here, just in case anybody knows her. Please don't, y'all might see anything that looks familiar. Please, in the comment section, do not say her name. I try to keep that private, just for safety reasons, and I don't want the family get upset. If you say who she is, where she lives, and all this stuff, just because you know her. I mean, if you know her, say, "Oh, I know that person." Okay, fine, but don't say her name, where she lives, and all that stuff. Not appropriate. I can do stuff like this while she's taking a nap, or I can take a nap. We can do what we want to do, as long as it's not, bad stuff. But what was I going to say? My mind just went blank. But I just feel like I have to say that because, people are going to be people, and some people don't have that common sense to do certain things or say certain things, So I want to protect my butt and cover my butt for that. But yeah, like, oh yeah, I know what I was gonna say. Like, I got to go to, we have this group, or used to, and I wish I started back up, because the lady that started it was coming to our church. She had some health issues. Her daughter and son-in-law are in the same fellowship. They were pastoring on the south side of our city, because that area is like really huge. And we needed somebody. We got 2 people over there. So they were there. They were willing to, take her in when she was having health issues and couldn't do as much. But she started this group called the Golden Girls, and it's old ladies that are 50 on up. And she was in her 70s at this time when I came in, early 70s or late 60s. But they go out once in a while to have, dinner to a restaurant. Even our pastor paid for them to go to rent a beach house for a weekend and enjoy themselves and go on the beach. He's just nice enough to do that, and you let people know, hey, I want to do this. Who wants to help pitch in? He'll pitch in his own money to do stuff like that, so they can go and do stuff and have fun. Because just because you're older doesn't mean you can't have fun or do something and minister to one another and help. And so this lady did, and her name was Miss K. Oh my gosh, Miss K would do like little Bible studies at the house with just the older ladies. She would, they would, like I said, go out to eat, go to the beach, do something fun once in a while. It wasn't like all the time thing. If they didn't have anywhere to really go, they just meet at the house, just share stories, cook, do a little Bible study. It was the main thing. And I got to go out to eat with them to Olive Garden one time, and because my friend wanted to go, and she's 10 years older than me, and they were giving her such a hard time, like, oh Lord, yeah, they told her she could come. She asked, and when we got there and sat down, like giving her a hard time, like, oh Lori, I don't know why you want to come. You're so young. You don't belong in here. I don't know why you want to be with us, around with us. They like to mess with her, not that way, but they like to joke with her, mess with her. And she's like, oh, I don't know why y'all jumping all over me. Karen's here. She's the youngest out of the whole group. And we're like, oh yeah, we're not worried about Karen. She's cool. She can stay as long as she wants. She can come anytime. And but you, I don't know. We have to take into consideration and vote on it or something like that. But they're messing with her so bad. I'm like, here she is, older than me, and then she might be like 10 years younger than, between 10 and 12 years younger than the youngest one out of the group. And here I'm the youngest one in my 20s. I wasn't even 30 yet. How old was I? Because I came in back in the church when I was 23, 24, something like that, 23. And so I'm 38 now. It's gonna be 39. But I was in my mid 20s, and oh my gosh, I had so much fun with them. I had fun laughing, but it was all good. I had a lot of fun. I like doing stuff like that and spend time with people, and I love hearing the stories and just of all what older people say. And there's, if you really take time to listen, there's wisdom there, and you get a lot of advice. Most of them won't steer you wrong. So, and I'm used to it, being around older people, because my mom used to help my grandpa, his girlfriend. My grandma had died right before I turned 2, like 2 months before I turned 2. So I kept him companionship. We always had him around, and her, and my great grand uncle and his wife, and my other granny aunt. I mean, they're all 70 and older. We were always helping them, and they were always around. We always had my cousin, who's the same age as my mom, 11 months older. So it was just, I guess because I'm used to that, I can get along with the older people better. And it's just like, you know, I want to be kind of like them, like impart stuff to the younger people and help them in any way, shape, or form I can. And I tried doing that with when I went to the conference. You know, I wasn't the oldest one in the room. The lady I shared a bed with, because it was 4 of us for one night, there was like 5. But yeah, so I just tried it when they were coming in my room and sitting talking. I tried to part stuff in them and kind of share my testimony and like, hey, don't make the same mistakes I did. You know, of course, you know, I can't share everything, and there's some things that, you know, maybe not the right time, not the right person to share things with, but you know, just you gotta be led by God. You know, pray about things, and it's just like it's good, cool when you pray about stuff, how God works, and He answers stuff. But I'll stop right there. It's in a video, and I gotta pick this phone up. I'm getting a call, so I gotta pick this up. Bye. See y'all later. Bye, guys.